Well, can you believe that we're here, on the cusp of the season finale and potentially the last ever episode of Ted Lasso? I most certainly can't. With a season that has definitely proved to be the most emotional, deep, and connected when it comes to watching all of the characters, in 1 week's time it will all be over. With there still being a lot of things that need to be answered and a reunion that has been a whole season in the making on the cards, the final episode is one that I'm very much looking forward to. So with that, I thought I'd take a look at all that was out there along with giving my theories and predictions on what I think is going to happen next. So let's get into it. Here is Ted Lasso Season 3 Episode 12 Theories Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. With the season finale being upon us and there still being quite a bit that needs resolving, it means that there are still multiple directions that the show could go in. However, the cliffhanger that episode 11 left us on is a clear indicator of what is to come in the season finale for one of the characters. As I always do, I'll start with the episode title, the image that's been shared ahead of the release, and also the synopsis. The episode title for the season finale is So Long Farewell, and the synopsis is Season Finale. AFC Richmond play their final match of the season, and the image that we have is of Ted in his office sitting at his desk smiling. So the show is most definitely not giving much away about this final episode. However, there are small takeaways. The phrase "so long farewell" is often used as a goodbye when the individual that's saying it is no longer returning. I think this is going to tie into the thing that Ted wanted to bring up to Rebecca in his office during the final moments of episode 11 before it abruptly finished. After what Ted's mother said to him about Henry missing him during Ted's breakdown, I think that was the final thing that was needed for Ted to realize that he needed to go back home. So I think we'll finally see him make the decision to leave, and this next episode will be about him saying goodbye to the family that he's made over in the UK with AFC Richmond. We've been drip-fed moments of Ted coming to terms with the fact that he missed Henry, none more notable than in the opening episode when he was waving goodbye to his son, but he had the Lego version of the Premier League trophy in his hand, showing that his mind was in a state of conflict from the moment that the season began. I think with the image showing us a version of Ted that has a smile on his face, it most likely means that it's going to be a positive episode, especially with him owning the fact and coming to the decision that he's going to be leaving the club on his own terms and returning home to be with his son, the one and true most important thing in his life. This is also further supported by other moments in the season when we saw Ted looking on at people being together and enjoying being in each other's company, something which Ted didn't have with his son. So it's time for Ted to go home, and I think this is what the main plot will be focused on. As well as the story of Ted leaving, there will also be the last game of the season that needs to be played. We don't know who the final game of the season is going to be against, but I have a feeling that it's going to be against West Ham. We've only seen the teams play each other once this season, so it would make sense. With Nate also returning to AFC Richmond, it would very much work out in a poetic way, considering he'll be on the coaching team and he'll know all about the West Ham players. AFC Richmond need to win their final game in order to grab a hold of the title as Premier League champions. I believe they're going to do it. However, there was a song that was being played at the end of the most recent episode that had the lyrics, "It's better to have fought and lost than never have fought at all." So it does make me wonder if they're going to miss out on the title, as it's not the most important thing. This season has put a focus on togetherness, honesty, and family. So it'll be interesting to see if they do win it. I hope they do. I think they're also relying on Manchester City to lose as well, as they were 4 points ahead of Richmond before they lost to them, so there's 1 point between them. So Richmond need 2 results to go their way. Now let's look at the other characters and how their arcs will finish off. Nate. I think Nate will have his full arc of redemption in this episode, and will almost be shown as the hero. With him accepting the position back at AFC Richmond, we're going to see him reunite with Ted, and it's a moment that I can't wait to see happen. With the final game most probably being against West Ham, I think his tactics will lead them to a victory, and it will largely be because of him. I think this could also most likely lead to him becoming head coach of AFC Richmond, and taking over the position from Ted following him leaving. I'm expecting to see a good moment between both Ted and Nate too, as they're set to open up to each other following what happened at the end of season 2. With Ted leaving, I think Nate will also have some form of regrets for not reaching out sooner. But with Nate most likely finishing the show in being head coach, it'll provide a full circle moment for Nate and his journey within the club. Roy and Keeley. I think Roy will keep his position at AFC Richmond in doing what he does. However, I think the character's main story regarding Keeley is something that's going to be finalized. We saw him admit his true feelings for Keeley and said how he wanted to be more than friends in episode 11 when they were together in Jamie's room, and Keeley was interrupted before she had the chance to respond. As much as I want them to be together, I have a feeling that Keeley is going to make the decision to not be together. The reluctance to respond and address the situation after he mentioned it to her doesn't paint a happy ending for them being together. I think instead, she'll want to focus on her company that is now back at the early stages following Rebecca's investment, and she'll most likely need a lot of focus and attention to be put on that. The original reason as to why Roy wanted to break things off in the first place. I'll be devastated for Roy if that does happen, but he'll have to learn to accept it. Maybe their paths will cross again in the romantic sense in the future. Rebecca. For a long time, I thought that Rebecca was going to end up with the mystery man that she met in Amsterdam, but I've come to the realization that all of these psychic signs weren't pointing towards being with somebody, but it was more about hurdles and moments for her to overcome, about learning to accept herself, be comfortable with herself, and move on from Rupert. All of these things have happened and have ultimately allowed the character to progress forward in a positive way. The last we saw of her was welcoming in Bex and Rupert's former assistant, and also being there for Ted when he was about to admit that he was leaving. The psychic sign about her being a mother is the only thing that is a bit confusing, and does link with the mystery man as he had a daughter, so unless he makes a surprise appearance in the finale, I feel it could be more metaphorical, in the sense that she's always there for people. She's there for Keeley, there for Ted, there for Bex in the most recent episode, and is also there for the team, so it could well be pointing to that. Jamie. With Jamie having extreme growth and development in this season and becoming more of a team player and having a more empathetic human mindset, I think the story would end well for him if he was offered captaincy of the final game and was given the role of club captain for the next season. That would mark a real defining moment and represent the change that the character has undergone in order to come out the other side. We may see Jamie reunite with his father following the message that he sent him in episode 11. With his father looking like he's in some kind of facility to help with recovery, he could well be a changed man, and a newfound relationship between the pair could be formed. The ending of the show is upon us, and I feel it's going to be an extremely sad ending. This show has been one of a kind, and provided a real emotional ride and given us characters that we can fully get behind and feel invested in. So when it does draw to a close next week, it will be a shame. I have a feeling that the ending of the show won't disappoint. So, there you have it. Ted Lasso Season 3 Episode 12 Theories Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think is going to happen next? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.